Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharks VR, and today we are here with the man, the myth, the legend, Scott Albright. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Round of applause. Scott, if you would like to introduce yourself and say hi.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, man, it's good to be here. Scott, CombatWaffleStudios, CEO, founder, and creative director. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I appreciate you coming on. I'm such a new creator to the scene. I do like Ghost Tabor. I've been keeping an eye on it for a little while. Been able to play the game recently, get my own VR stuff, and I decided to become a creator, talk about VR games, and just get my opinion on stuff. So I really do appreciate you giving such a small creator your time.
I mean, I wouldn't consider you a small creator, right? Like, I remember talking to guys like this, like Scope OG, Timeless. Like, it wasn't that long ago when they were like playing our alpha and they were just trying to start their careers. Like, today, you may consider yourself a small creator, but in a month, you may be massive. It's just the way the internet works.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong at all. Timeless has now, I believe, over 100,000 subscribers. One of the
I'm
highest.
hoping he hits 500K this year. I'm hoping he does.
With the rate he's going, I'm pretty sure he probably will. I mean, he's
Yeah.
the I think highest subscriber count for Tabor creators. Like as a main Tabor creator, not just someone that plays the game once or twice. Um, but yeah, the reason why I consider myself a small creator, I believe at the time of this recording, I have 53 subscribers. I
Yep.
am blessed enough to have my first 3 videos do absolutely amazing. So I really appreciate you still coming on here. But yeah, just for everybody knowing, Scott Albright, this is the guy behind CombatWaffleStudios, the game development company that made the game we all know and love. Sometimes can get a little
So
judgmental about Ghost
don't worry. I,
Tabor.
I fucking hate it sometimes too.
Hey man, but nice having you. But I'm gonna get to the first question here. Recently there has been a lot of things that have happened. I just want to first say, how are you? Like, ask how are you doing?
I'm great. Like, yeah, like I'm good. Yeah, I'm
That's
okay. I know when we were talking earlier, like talking about like the Mound Man video and shit, like I can give two shits about what that guy says about me.
yeah,
I can give I don't care what he does, I don't care what he says. We've actually got a legal team, great legal team here. And he has crossed the line a few times, even like a couple days ago. On the 11th, he actually sent Josh an email telling him like kill himself and stuff like that.
oh
Like
wow.
that's how demented this guy is. And I'll give you the screenshot if you want to put it up. That way people don't think I'm lying.
Oh yeah, yeah. If
Um,
you could provide that, yeah.
yeah, I'll send it to you in the chat. But yeah, he's just a different cat, man. And like I know people are like, oh, you're bringing up Scott's pat. Like I'm not ashamed of anything I've ever done in my life. Like that's one thing people need to realize. You should never regret anything that happened in your past because it made you who you are. And that day, and my lawyer said it when the self defense shooting happened, and I'll gladly repeat it. I would redo that day and that entire year and all the times after that again because that day I protected not only myself but people around me. I was not raised to be a coward. I'm not a coward. I've always been in jobs where I put the public above my own, above myself. And that hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form. I took a solemn oath to defend this nation against enemies, foreign and domestic. And that day, unfortunately, there was a domestic enemy that was trying to hurt people where I lived,
Yeah,
including myself. So, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like,
yeah.
it happened.
Yeah, I mean,
It
you are a veteran. I know before, like when we were talking before, I did have a video in mind talking about his recent video coming more about you and Nova ZQ, a fellow Ghost to War
yeah,
creator. I was gonna make a video on that, but after seeing a lot of the comments and everything people talking about, I was like, I'd rather not make another video towards him, but
yeah,
talking to the person that is kind of a part of it. I I'm a big person like legally and stuff like that. Like I do look into the law, I look into like justice system and
sure.
stuff like that. I did look over the case myself, and with everything that was provided towards me, it was self defense.
For sure.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
someone was unfortunately unalived in the situation. um, I do agree that the regret thing, some people may take it out of context. So I could
They will.
probably
So
say
it's okay.
like, I'm gonna say this like, I don't necessarily regret anything in my life because everything is a learning lesson. Whether you fail or succeed, everything
Sure.
is going to be a learning lesson. Unfortunately, bad things do happen to even good people, and sometimes
Absolutely.
you just gotta learn from it. That's why I don't take regrets in life. Everybody
Yeah.
has skeletons in the closet, so I don't think someone should
Yeah.
past should be brought up.
Don't get me wrong. I really do not wish any ill will on anyone, and I hate that a young man lost his life that day. But I did not take that young man's life. The person that I defended myself with is alive, and that can be come out however you all want to come out. It's pretty much there in the black and white in the writings. We're still in the courts. We're still suing the detective that lied to the grand jury. We're doing all kinds of stuff right now. It's still happening. All these years later, I'm still
Yeah,
going through it.
yeah,
But I hate that a young man lost his life to his own brother or whatever you wish to believe. If you wish to believe I did it, that's completely your call.
yeah,
But the courts disagreed, and they agreed that it was self defense, and yeah, I mean, the law is the law of the land, and that's just the way it is, and we just gotta move on.
yeah. I mean, you're absolutely correct. You know, I was gonna state in like in my past video that he was talking about that a jury should have, you know, like given the verdict and stuff, and
Sure.
he also skipped over the fact that it was pretty much two court cases, if I believe, the one like just court in Kentucky and then the Supreme Court of Kentucky, if I'm not
Yeah. So
mistaken.
the Kentucky circuit court system
Mm-hmm.
dismissed it for self defense. Then they appealed it to the Kentucky Court of Appeals. They dismissed it for self-defense,
Mm-hmm.
and then they appealed it to the Supreme Court of Kentucky, and the Supreme Court of Kentucky refused to hear it
Mm.
based on the fact that it was self-defense.
So it was three times instead of two.
3 times it was thrown out. Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah,
All right. Well, other than that, as a person yourself, I know you're a very busy man and everything like that.
sure.
Just how are you doing mentally? I know a lot of people don't ask this, especially as you a CEO. People normally just talk about you and your game. But how are
Yeah.
you? How are you coming at mentally? Like, how are you doing mentally?
I'm good, man. Thanks for asking.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
you don't get that a lot. But no, I'm okay, man. My dad raised me to carry weight, so like
yeah, understandable.
Um,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get stressed out. I get pissy. I have extreme PTSD from the military, and
yeah,
so I do catch myself like falling for the rage bait sometimes and just getting pissed off because I know what my team does and how what they set out to do. And oh
yeah.
wow, the power just flickered. But like I'm good. Like I'm happy. I got an amazing family. I've got a
Great to
job that
hear.
I love. Like I've
Yeah,
got great friends. Like I get to play do what I love doing, and I don't really have anything I can complain about. Like
yeah.
I'm pretty blessed.
I come from a military family. My dad was in the Air Force. My
All right.
stepfather of my two younger sisters was in the Army. So I know a few things about, especially living on base. I know the PTSD that
Yeah.
comes from being a veteran and everything like that.
Yeah.
So again, I want to just thank you for serving our nation
No,
when you
thank you.
did, and thank you for bringing such a great game to the VR community.
It's got its moments, but overall, Tabor is life, and but it does have its moments where I want to rage out and like throw my headset when I die to a Timmy in a bush too.
Ah, yeah.
So I get
So
it.
of course, I don't like rats myself either. But other than that, let's just get right into the game. We talked about all the past situations and everything. Talked about you. Let's get to the game now. My first question about it is, what made you want to become a CEO of a game development company, specifically a VR game development company?
So really, I didn't want to be a CEO. I've been playing VR since I think God 2019,
Mm,
and I actually started off playing like OG Contractors competitively.
okay.
So I've been playing for a long time, and everyone I knew in the VR space, up until the day Tabor released, was always wanting like an extraction shooter, Escape from Tarkov,
Yeah.
DayZ, like, and no one would ever make it. And I've been an entrepreneur since I was 15,
Yeah.
and I just decided to make it. I got tired of waiting on people year after year, and said, let's just make it. So I think we were originally a team of 8.
Mm,
And so we just made Tabor. Like that was really it. In 1 month's time from coming up with the idea to raising money and launching. It took a month.
that's That's very impressive.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah, thanks, yeah.
very impressive. Um, yeah, I'm a entrepreneur myself in my kind of own lane. I kind of dabbled in game developing, so I know kind of a little bit of the ins and out of it. And I know that
Yeah.
that can take a while. So having it a month just out, being able to develop a VR game, especially, that's very noteworthy for sure.
Hey, thanks, yeah, it was an interesting 11 months of initial development time. It was
Yeah.
quite fun.
Yeah. Well, that answered my next question of why make a game like Ghost Tabor. I know
Yeah.
everybody is pretty much a fan of Escape from Tarkov. I mean, I believe on the Ghost Tabor website page that it's inspired by that game. I know
Yes, yeah, very heavily.
some people can get confused about like being inspired by a game and making it after a game, like kind of like a carbon copy of the game. I know people can
For
definitely
sure.
get confused on that. So if you would like to elaborate the inspiration of it, so people aren't like, oh, this is just he's just wanting to make a like Tarkov game.
Yeah, I wanted to make a game that was inspired by a game like Tarkov, but also like DayZ and like Arma, like
Yeah,
because I think Tarkov got a lot of its inspiration from those guys too. And think about what you want about battle state games in Nikita. Like I've played that game since Alpha. I've lost years of my life to Escape from Tarkov. And I wanted to recreate that addictive flavor that you get with a game like Tarkov. And I think we were pretty much able to do that. You can see it through comments, especially when people die or they encounter a bug and that just overall rage they get that I also get playing my game. Because I'll play, one night and then come in and yell at the guys like, what was this shit? Like I'm so upset. Like when you all are yelling, I'm actually doing it to my team, and then we're sitting down together and like, okay, what did you do? And we're trying to replicate in
yeah,
office. Like, right. So it's like the game is not supposed to be one for one for Tarkov. Tarkov is the only Tarkov. Period.
yeah,
When you start creating, you want to be a one for one for Tarkov. You get like Arena Breakout Infinite, right? You get Timu Tarkov.
yeah,
Um, that's not that's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to take very heavy inspiration from it, implement VR mechanics, and then just find a way to make it our own, which I feel like we did. And there's more stuff coming to even further advance that in the coming months. Like eh, it's it's not supposed to be Tarkov one for one because if you just make a game that is exactly that other game but in VR, not inspired by, but a carbon copy,
yeah,
it's gonna be soulless. It's gonna have no life to it. No, I got to get back in and run another
yeah.
raid
No
feeling like
replay value.
it,
No.
it's got yeah, like it's just it doesn't have that flavor that you need from it. And I feel like that's where we were able to differentiate from some of our competitor games that you see coming out is they just went right for a one for one. Like they didn't put any soul in their game.
Yeah,
And to me, that's the biggest downfall of anything.
yeah. Well, speaking of competitors, there was a game just released not too long ago that states they're in alpha build right now. Contract
Yeah,
Showdowns. ExfilZone has been getting a lot of hype recently.
for
Um,
sure.
do you like the competition at all? Like, what's your take
Yeah,
on
I
it?
do. I do. I like so that's the biggest problem I think we've always had, right? Is we had no competition.
Yeah.
We had to compete against ourselves. That's why we made Silent North. That's why we got involved with Grim. I
Mm,
was looking for something else that could compete and try to take our player base from us from Tabor.
yeah.
That's really what I needed. Caveman, the devs at Caveman are awesome.
Yeah.
Um, like Casey Monkey and them, great devs. Can't knock them. Say what you want about anyone else on staff. The devs themselves are fantastic.
Yeah. They made three
Um,
great games now.
right. But give us a minute. They came out. They hit us with a right hook, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But they sure as shit didn't knock me out.
I
Um,
would hope not.
that is they got a good game. They've done a lot. They took a lot of stuff that we had on our public roadmap and they implemented it. And good on them because if they had a public roadmap, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not too concerned about them in the long run. These guys have been building a back end and a skeleton, a framework since 2017, right? Since Quest One with contractors, and as an OG contractors player, I can see a lot of that framework being used. One in their battle royale, and then in their exfil shooter mode.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, their battle royale I thought was fucking amazing.
I thought so too.
Um,
I'm surprised I didn't
yeah,
get it more updates as it
it's
did.
it's because the lobbies are too big, right? Like the
Yeah.
lobbies need to be smaller. You saw the same thing happen with like Pop One. but yeah, I mean, good on them for coming in and pushing us overall. Like all it's going to do is make us be better, and it completely made me rethink our structure of what we're doing and the flow of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you're going to start seeing us shotgun some stuff here real soon. Like I said, I think in a video I put on TikTok in response to someone, like there can only be one king,
Yeah.
and it sure as shit isn't going to be them.
I like that. I'm a very competitive person myself, so I like to hear that. I know, I believe you watched the video of me giving my, I don't know if you did,
Yeah.
but giving my opinions on Ghost Tabor, the update and everything like that.
Yes.
I feel like I kind of differentiated myself than just talking smack about the update. I like to
For
give
sure.
my
Yeah.
opinion, but I also like to give like options to improve because I know coming from a businessman, and you don't want to just hear negative things. If someone says something negative, I feel like they should have at least like something that can improve on the negative.
1,000%, right? And that's why, like, and like guys, like we'll use like Ego and like Jakey for instance, and I'm
Yeah.
not throwing any shit at them.
Yeah, no, two
Like
great creators.
two great creators, and Jakey thinks I don't like him, which isn't the case at all. I think Jakey and I actually see eye to eye on a lot of shit if we would ever talk. Actually, I added him on Discord. I just need to message him.
Yeah.
But like I can respect their opinions. It's just the pure hate
Yeah.
and like trollish shit that comes out of it, that's when I just check out and I don't care what they have to say.
Yeah.
Like the moment you come in and you just start being an absolute troll with what you're saying and just throwing absolute like hate and shade for without anything on the backside, to me it means you don't really care about the game. Like and that's okay. You don't have to care about the studio, you don't have to care about the game. But I'm not going to sit through a 10-minute video or a 4-minute video or a 30-second video when you say nothing of like maybe if you change this or this is how I think you should do it. And I think Jakey used to, and we used to watch his videos. But unfortunately, there's things that we have to work on in a
Yeah.
process, and we have timelines, and we don't get the stuff right away.
Yeah.
We're a big studio. We have 3 games that we're working on, so um, it's it's not that I don't care what people say. It's that I have to prioritize things, and a lot of things that people want are a part of a much bigger system that we have to implement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what this big update was. It was a lot of systems being worked on and implemented at a core level that people didn't even get to see that now
Yeah.
allow us to expand upon those.
Yeah. 'Cause I know myself as, a player of the game was confused when it was said that it was, like a major final turning point,
Mhm.
and after seeing the update, I feel like there was definitely a lot more that I can see being worked on. But was the final turning point more of an internal thing that could allow you to expand on, like, the game? What
Yeah.
did you mean by that? Because I know I was confused as well.
Yeah, so it's by final turning point, I mean, it's not like we're final turning point towards like the end of Tabor.
Okay,
It
gotcha.
was an internal system turning point.
Okay.
So all it did was we had roadblocks with systems where they were built early but not fully fleshed out because they were depending on another system to get fully fleshed out or a creative decision to be made
Yeah.
or an environmental, like the environment art director to make a decision and sit down with me and figure out what we were going to do, like the island expansion. Maybe we were having some performance issues with physics overhead, like our
Yeah.
physics thread was exploding. So we found a way to optimize better when we had a little bit of room to breathe. And we weren't just because the Tor community, right? I love everybody in the Tor community, but they're very passionate
Very.
and they scream constantly about wanting new stuff, right? Well, I can't bug fix, balance, expand, plus deliver new stuff all the time. It's just
Yeah.
so that's why we just chose over this last 6 months. Let's build the internal core systems. Let's get them fleshed out. Now let's start that expansion and things like that. So by final turning point, it was really like our core systems are done. Now let's show everybody what we've been working on and let's get the mini systems that hook to it to
Yeah.
start putting it out to people.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I appreciate you for clarifying.
Yeah, no problem.
But for the next question, you stated before that you were wanting a game like Tarkov, and that's what inspired Tabor, and basically the being the first extraction shooter on VR, being that pioneer. Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders to make like such a great extraction shooter compared to the beginning and now with the competition?
Um, yeah, I think there is a lot of pressure on our shoulders, right? We came out of the gate with a lot of hope and promise, and a lot of things that we wanted to do. And we just had a lot going on and a lot of things we had to fix on our internal systems. I think what people always fail to remember is we did it in 11 months, and that means we had to do things that typically developers don't do. We had to make systems with a lot of quickness that then we had to completely redo because they would never fit the expanded model.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure. I know the team feels it. I know I feel it, but I think we'll be okay. We are, like I said, there's only going to be one king
Yeah.
of the extraction shooter genre, and there's a couple more extraction shooters came out. Like there's Anomaly that's
Yeah.
out. I think AX Lab Veil. I think they're coming out with an extraction mode.
Yeah.
You've got us. You've got ExfilZone, and I think there's another one,
I
but I can't
bel
remember. Maybe it's just AX Labs Veil's
yeah.
mode is what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
I know
But
a lot of people are
there's
excited
only
for
going to be
Veil.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only gonna be more. Well, dude, Vail has a fantastic tech stack. Like, their
Yeah,
tech stack is
for
fucking
sure.
great. It's just I don't know why they didn't find the success like Tabor should have, but maybe they will with their extraction shooter, right? They have a great tech stack.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure, but it's nothing we haven't dealt with for the entire time Combat Waffle's been alive, and it's not any more pressure than I put on my guys to deliver on a daily basis,
Yeah.
so.
I gotcha. Well, from you and your development team, I wanted to know what are some of the biggest challenges developing a game like this? Like, what are some of the biggest challenges you have encountered?
I think balancing is our biggest challenge.
Mm,
Find like, when we play something internally, like, to us, it feels great, but the moment it goes out to the public, then it's not, right? So I think balance is the biggest challenge of any game,
yeah.
biggest game. And I think you're gonna see all the other extraction shooters have the exact same issue.
Yeah.
And I wish them luck navigating that, but it is possible, and we've expanded our team and our creative team, and it's only getting bigger and better. So I think that's it. I think balancing is the biggest problem for
Yeah.
us.
I know balancing in any game, especially when it comes from what you think balancing should be and the community thinks balancing should be, can kind
For
of
sure.
go head to head. So I can definitely see how that can be a challenge. I won't ask how you overcame it. I don't want to give any of your competitors any insight
Sure,
of
yeah.
your mind. So I'll respect that. But speaking of your community, I want to know how big of a role does community feedback play in shaping Ghost Tabor?
A lot. I mean, since Alpha, right? Tabor was supposed to be like it was always supposed to be this game, but it had a way different features, like the mag shaking feature. Like, eh, we were just going to use UI,
Yeah.
and it was like, no, let's find a different way to do this. It's more immersive in VR, and like that was a community suggestion. Um,
Mm,
there's a lot of community suggestions in Tabor, and I think there will continue to be those suggestions put in Tabor.
yeah,
We get hundreds and hundreds a day, but we sort through them all as fast as we can. But again, the community is the only reason that we are the size that we are, right?
yeah,
Um, and I don't see that ever changing. Our
yeah,
community is why we're here.
yeah. Not wrong. Ghost of War, in my opinion, has probably one of the most passionate communities I've seen, especially in the VR space that I have seen. Just looking at the Discord alone, like not even the videos made, just the Discord alone, you can definitely tell how passionate the community is.
No, they can be very passionate. Yes, that's a word for it. Yeah, absolutely. Passion
Yeah,
is a word for these guys and girls.
but I mean, it just
But
shows
they're
that they
great.
love it.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. They've stood in support of us through thick and thin, and we keep trying to do what we can to make them proud at least.
yeah. Well, that's good. Well, um, continue on the topic of your competitors. What do you believe sets CombatWaffleStudios and Ghost of War as a game apart from the other VR shooters, extraction shooters, even the ones coming out? Like, what sets y'all apart?
Um, I mean, this is gonna sound really bad, and people are gonna take this quote and they're gonna run with it, and they're gonna say, "I'm doing this and I'm doing that." And
That's the internet for you.
I please ask everybody to listen to the full quote. because I don't mean this in a negative way towards any of the other people making games, but we care.
Yeah.
Like we our game, like the reason Tabor is what Tabor is because we set out with a clear goal, and everyone on the initial team of the 8 of us, we all wanted this game.
Yeah.
We weren't just trying to copy another game, or we weren't trying to just, oh, we need to break in because we want to get on the extraction shooter, train and make some money off this ride. No, we did it because we gave a shit and we still give a shit. And that, like, at this point now, like Tabor, we could essentially just wind it down, right? We don't have to develop anymore. We can just bug fix at this point. The game, do a map every now and then and bug fix. We don't have to bring in new features, but we're not going to stop developing Tabor.
Yeah.
It's still early in its life. We still have several years, like I've been saying, of development time in this game.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what's going to set us apart. Is at the end of the day, we're open and transparent with our community, which any studio can be if they wish to be. Just most aren't, and we actually give a shit about the product that we're putting out there. We're not just trying to make a copy of something. We're trying to make a cool multiverse, which we've started doing with Grim and Silent North.
Gotcha. Yeah. Um, I don't know many um developers or CEOs of gaming developing companies talking to a YouTuber that has 53 subscribers. So I definitely can say caring is something y'all do show, even though some people may disagree based on like updates and how they see what your updates should be. I definitely do see that y'all do care. I mean, just even speaking on the recent update, y'all released about 3 hot fixes in 3 days, pretty
More
much.
coming.
Yeah, and then the fourth hotfix I just released recently as well. Y'all got Twitch drops coming as well. So I definitely
Yeah.
can say y'all definitely do care. Um
Thanks. Yeah.
but with all your games coming out, you say you have two more games in developing and everything like that. Where do you see Ghost of Tabor in the future with all that? Do you still see it as like your head game? Do you think one of your other games will take over? How do you see it in the future? Like say about 5 to 10 years.
Oh man, 5 to 10 years. I don't even know if I'll still be with the studio in 5 to 10 years.
Really?
Eventually, I want to retire, man.
Oh,
Like
of
one
course.
of these days, right? 5 to 10 years, I'll probably still be here bashing my head against the computer screen. Um, yeah, 5 to 10 years is a long time,
It is.
especially for a VR game. I would like to think that we are still doing something on Tabor,
Mhm.
but I've been writing the GDD for a while now, for an expansion in the Tabor multiverse for another Tabor, which
Okay.
is
Oh,
still a ways out. Like, I don't think we'd even start working on that until 2028, 2027.
so you're saying like Ghost of Tabor 2?
Yeah, yeah. We've already applied since everybody's a USPTO nerd and likes to go search trademarks. It's not up there yet, but it will be.
Okay.
But yes, we have already applied for that USPTO filing, and I've been writing this GED for about 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
Um, but that's not a focus right now. It's just a GDD. There's no one
Yeah.
working on it. There's no devs working on it. It's just like, all right, what can we do that's cooler? Like, can we bring it to the states? Can we go somewhere else? It's more recognizable in an actual city. Like,
Mhm.
what can we do? But as of right now, Tabor is still the main timeline, right?
Yeah.
Um, Grim and Silent North are a spinoff of those timelines, but for the next several years, Tabor is still going to be exactly where it's at and be it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I really care about is Tabor. So
Yeah. That 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 does sound great. I know like with two games coming out, I know sometimes like your current game can take a back seat and everything like that. It's great to hear that y'all are still going to develop it, even though yeah, like you could just fix some bugs, people will probably still play it, but it's great to see that y'all are still passionate about developing a game such early in its lifetime and giving the community a chance to love it once again or love it even more. So
yeah, for sure.
I do like hearing that, especially coming from a gamer myself. Um, but with VR games and VR gaining its traction over the years, you have multiple different VR headsets coming out, the improvements on what they can do, and everything like that. A lot more people are going to try to get into VR gaming. And with Ghost of Tabor, like I said, I feel like it's the pioneer for extraction shooters. Where do you see Ghost of Tabor or Combat Waffle Studios as a whole contributing to the growth of VR gaming?
Hmm. I like to think that we're one of the pillars, even though we're not, right? It's sort of a self-inflated sense of person. I don't know, man. There's so many good studios out there.
Yeah,
Like, I just really hope that we're still here, kicking and remaining one of the studios that people enjoy playing their games. I don't really see a game studio ever changing the future of VR. I think you really need to make sure is what we the question should be asking is what are the hardware developers doing to help make sure VR advances so we can make cool games to play them. And I know there are
yeah,
some people working on some really, really cool stuff. And I know Meta's working on cool stuff for their new devices. And I think it's gonna be an interesting time in the next several years for VR gaming. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I think it's only gonna get bigger, and I think the industry is gonna get massive by 2028.
oh, for sure.
Um,
Yeah,
especially as the headsets get smaller, and you can see Meta doing that form factor changing every single new edition, right? So
yeah,
I think we'll be fine. I think Combat Waffle is gonna be right here. We're still gonna be making cool shooters, and some other stuff that's not shooters because we do like other types of games as well.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think we're gonna be here for the ride. I have a great relationship with Meta, and they don't want us to go anywhere, and I don't want to go anywhere. So,
Mhm. That's great to hear. I do. I don't know if I know you kind of said it's self-inflating. In my eyes, y'all kind of are one of the pillars of VR gaming, especially Ghost of War. Because as I got into VR gaming, I got kind of tired of seeing Gorilla Tag. I wanted to see like an actual game that's
sure,
played. So, um, Ghost of War was one of the first games I watched. That along with the original Contractors and everything. So I don't think it's self-inflating. I do think Ghost of War is definitely one of the pillars of just the initial VR gaming and getting into it and everything like that. Um, so I definitely do see y'all. Hopefully, with everything goes right, I do see y'all still like being one of those head pillars. You know, everybody has like the four horsemen or the Mount Rushmore of certain topics and everything like that. And Combat Waffle is definitely a part of mine.
thanks. We appreciate that. Yeah.
No, no, of course. But besides talking about the game and everything like that, let's get a little bit to the business side of things. I know some people question how it could be ran or what goes on behind closed doors. My main thing is how do you foster such a creative and collaborative environment? I know people have different opinions on certain things. How do you let all your developers and people that work at Combat Waffle have the creative freedom?
Wow. Well, unfortunately, at the end of the day, anything that people want to do, I have to rubber stamp, right?
Hmm.
But I tell every single developer, every environment artist, like if you have an idea, just bring it to me. Let's talk through it and see if it can be fit into the universe. Even like the devs that are working here, a lot of them have their own like side gigs, making their own side games, like Spoonfed Entertainment. Like
Mm,
Spoonfed was working on Grim for like 6 or 7 years, and
yeah.
I said, dude, let me see it. Like I think creativity. If you lose your creativity, you're gonna make a shit game, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Um, but there are some things the devs like bring to me, like my COO. He is begging me to battle passes into Tabor, and I just keep telling him no.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's you got some people that are creative, and you got some people that just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have a lot of creative people, but it's just one of those things, man. We cut up, we have a good time. Like we have Orbeez gel ball fights on lunch, and
Yeah.
we may play Nintendo 64 and get back to our roots and all of that stuff. Like it's not a it's not so complex as people think. It's hey Scott, I think this would be really cool, and it's either yes or no. Like and anyone's allowed to bring anything to me at any time. Like I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole battle pass thing, a lot of games have incorporated, so I'm not surprised someone has said it.
we're okay.
Yeah. I know people talk about like the whole DLC thing and everything like that. I know I kind of chimed in my opinion on it and everything. I would
Mhm.
like to see gun skins personally. That's my thing. I know y'all have gun skins in there already and everything like that. Um, so maybe it'll be nice. Maybe you disagree, which agree to disagree. Um, but yeah, I definitely am not surprised about the whole battle pass thing.
Yeah, it's, I don't think we'll ever do a battle pass for Tabor. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think it would fit personally.
yeah, I know what people are like, "Oh, it's a cash grab. It's DLC." Like, I'm telling you right now, it's not. Like, if it was about that, we would be doing battle passes, and we're
Yeah,
never going to do battle passes in Tabor.
yeah. Well, um, one of the final things I have to ask about just the business side of it, have more fun, like be less serious. What has been your favorite feature or moment about creating Ghost to Board or being a part of Combat Waffle Studios?
It's a hard question. There's been a lot of moments. I think just that, I've watched so many guys and girls come through the door that, while they work for me, I consider them friends and family now, and we just, I get to watch them grow. Some have moved on, some aren't with us anymore, some still are.
Yeah,
In someone that started their own business, like, years ago. I'm 40 now, and I started when I was 15. Like, it's really cool to see people do that with their lives, and
yeah,
know that maybe you had a piece of it. And I guess that's my favorite part, is all the social interaction I've gotten. One, the community, but also the people I work with every day. I'm very happy that we're at like 60 people. And usually
yeah,
once you hit like 50 people in a business, it's hard to be involved in like the day to day and in people's lives. But every day at lunch, I make sure I'm at the lunchroom table having lunch with whoever's in there, and bullshitting and playing games, and joking. And I think that's the coolest part, is I'm not a very social person outside of work. I go home, and that is my castle. I stay there. I don't come out. I don't like to go. I don't like people. I don't like to go out among people. So like when people see me at like events like GDC, or they see me at like CES and I'm at like an after party or something, I'm super uncomfortable the entire
yeah,
time. I just put on sort of a good face. My PTSD is raging. I hate crowds. I don't really
yeah,
like people all that much, but it's been good for me health wise to get out and do that kind of stuff, and for
yeah,
my mental health, and but also just getting to be around all these people where typically you'd work remotely. It's being involved in everyone's lives and seeing them grow. That's something I, if it ended all today, I'm thankful I got that.
that's great to hear. Yeah, I know I'm not such a great person going outside either. I'm definitely a homebody, just like working on my things and relaxing at
Yeah,
home. Probably watch a show or two, but
same.
definitely understand about getting out and just being able to kind of, I guess, explore a different environment, like ensure mental health and everything, all great and everything like that. But um, I definitely do see like seeing people improve, and I I can definitely tell you're not like fully like I know there's probably like something like a bit of sadness in your heart when someone of your development team leaves, but you're also happy to see them grow and continue in their career.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think a part of being human is growing, evolving, and continuing to move, and figure out who you are as a person. And in 5 years, I'm going to be a completely different person than I am right now. Right.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I hate to see people leave. But I also am very proud of what they're able to accomplish. There was a young man that used to work here named Ethan, and he was a lighting artist. He just right out of college,
yeah,
phenomenal lighting artist. Like, and he got a job offer at a big studio, and he went. And it was right before we launched on App Store, and he left us like right at
mm.
the 90, like we were at the 1 yard line, like we were ready, we were getting ready to cross into early access, like in
Yeah.
on App Lab when it's still around. And he left, and that made me mad that he left us right then. But like when there's been layoffs in the industry and it's affected that studio he went to, like I'm one of the first people to ask, like, "Yo, is Ethan good?" Like,
Yeah,
uh, because he went to a studio and got to learn from some amazing environment and lighting artists, and knowing that maybe him working here like early motivated him and got him in the door because it's really hard to get into big studios like that when you have 0 industry experience.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really cool to see people grow like that, like and it's just a part of life. People come and go in your life. That's part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're almost done here. I did
Cool.
want to ask two questions that's more personally within myself. Um,
Okay.
First one is, will leaning ever come to the game? I know
Yeah.
you talked about this about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
and as you stated before, your competitor has looked at your roadmap and taken that's one of the things they taken and implemented to theirs, which can't blame them fully. But for Ghost
No.
Tabor, will leaning ever come to the game?
I think you will see leaning within the next 30 days from today.
Ooh.
Within that time frame. Maybe sooner, maybe right on at 30.
Okay. Okay. I'm excited to see that. I want to see how y'all incorporate leaning within y'all's game styles. So I just wanted to
Sure.
ask that for myself personally.
That's cool, yeah.
I know that's been a big topic, one of the main topics of y'all not fully going on to your updates and everything. So I just
Right.
wanted to ask that for myself.
Alright.
Lastly, I know you talked about, this can be taken in a joking manner or whatnot. I know you said you have before we talked, you said you had some workers out in like Texas, Houston area. So
Yeah.
I was wondering, is there any like job openings near me? I
You
can
send
easily
send
take.
send me a resume, brother.
It was great talking to you today. Again, I really do appreciate you taking time out your day just to talk, have a conversation. I
Of
know a
course,
lot of
man.
the questions that I did provide you earlier weren't asked. I didn't want to keep you here for too long. You kind of answered pretty much everything.
Good,
So,
yeah, I'm glad I was able to at least I know I tried to answer some inside of other ones as well, but
yeah,
I also ramble. So,
I'm the
yeah, I
same way.
usually I usually get it, right?
Yeah, so I'm the same way. But it's great to have a conversation with you. Great to hear your voice. Glad to hear that you're doing good. I know Florida's freezing. I know I just had a hurricane in October of last year.
Yeah.
Especially with everything. I know necessarily you don't care about Mountain Man and everything like that. Everybody's
Nah, he can get
saying
fucked.
he's just a designated hater, as I like to say. He doesn't really want to see the other side, so I just left him be. But I'm
Yeah,
glad I got to
they're
talk
the
to you.
best.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure, boys.
But yeah, glad I got to talk to you. I hope everybody
Yes,
has a
sir.
great rest of their day. This is Scott Albright, CEO of CombatWaffleStudios, maker of a great game, Ghost of Tabor. I hope everybody has a great rest of their day, and I'll see y'all later.